Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the World in Films, where I pick a country and pick a movie from that country and we try to experience the country through the movie. Why do I do this? Because I think films are educative and they can help us experience the world around us. Today we are going to Israel and we are doing that through the film Ushpizin. Ushpizin is an Arabic term which means holy guests. This movie is set in the ultra-orthodox Jewish neighborhood of Jerusalem, and hence it is not really representative of the country of Israel, but just focused on one orthodox Jewish community in Jerusalem. But still I chose this film because it highlights some interesting aspects of Jewish culture and tradition. There are some other amazing films from Israel that portray the secular parts, but probably I'll do another video sometime later. The film begins a day before Sukkot, which is a 7-day traditional Jewish holiday that celebrates the harvest. The film follows the couple Moshe and Mali, who are poor and they don't have the money to buy the essentials required to celebrate Sukkot. And more importantly, they are also unable to conceive a child. But they believe in faith and prayer. Moshe quotes a rabbi on the importance of prayer. He says, wherever something is lacking, either it was not prayed for or it was not prayed for enough. So Moshe prays at the park and Mali continues to pray at home to address their problems. And then a miracle happens. A charitable organization leaves the couple $1,000 at the doorstep anonymously. This makes Moshe and Mali sing and dance ecstatically around their house that their prayers have been answered. And so Moshe and Mali prepare to celebrate the Sukkot, which is a very interesting tradition. Each family has to build a sukkah, which is a temporary structure outside the home. In the film, Moshe builds a wooden structure and they are supposed to eat and sleep in the sukkah. This tradition is a remembrance of the exodus of the Jews from Egypt and the days and years spent wandering in the desert on their way to the promised land. We see Moshe buying a citron, which is one of the 4 species that is required to celebrate Sukkot as mentioned in the Torah. Moshe spends a lot of money to buy a really beautiful citron, which is considered to be a blessing to conceive a male child. But the Sukkah continues to hold symbolic meaning for human existence. Moshe explains in the movie, why does God want us to stay in the Sukkah? Not just stay but even eat, drink and sleep in the Sukkah. Because God wants us to understand, just as the Sukkah, which is a temporary dwelling, so is the world temporary and passing, and we are merely guests. And of course, there is no festival without delicious food. Mali lays out the food on a table in the sukkah, and it includes salads, fish, meat, bread and wine. But they have unexpected visitors. 2 guys, one of them who was a mate of Moshe back in his olden days when he was not that religious, come to Moshe's sukkah. And Moshe asks them to be his guests, and that relates to the title Ushpizin, which means holy guests. But these 2 guys are far from holy. They are very unholy in fact. We later learned that they were criminals who escaped from prison. They fill up on all the food that Mali had to offer and were ungrateful to say the least. And yet both Moshe and Mali continued to oblige them and offer them all their hospitality because they believed that the way you treat your guests during the Sukkah is a test of their faith, even if those guests were unholy non-believers and also criminals, and hence Moshe's and Mali's faith holds on. We also see a few other customs in the movie. Of course, the costume. We see the headscarf worn by Mali and the white robe worn by Moshe. We also see a special fur hat worn by men during prayers on festival days. It's called streamel. It is made of the fur of fox. What I loved in this movie is the interaction between Moshe and Mali. They are 2 beautiful faithful individuals who are undergoing problems in their lives, and it's really beautiful to watch their faith created. And the concept of staying in a temporary dwelling for a few days every year, just to remind us of the temporariness of our existence in this world, I think that's a really powerful idea. Well, that was our trip to Israel through the film Ushpizin. Right now there is a low definition version of the film on YouTube, so do check it out. If you want to watch other movies from Israel, I'd recommend the movie Late Marriage. I'll meet you next time with another country and another movie. Until then, you can check out the playlist for more countries and movies. Goodbye.